Meaning we have sound now?
Okay, now they should be able to hear you.
I think you should be able to hear me now. But I just texted a bunch of parents who texted me, this one is awesome right away. The response is no sound. But you did see, and what I'm curious to know is whether or not, without the sound, let's see, you understood that I was supposed to be Willy Wonka.
They can hear you now.
Yes, sound. Okay. So listen, it's all good. This is virtual. This is, hey, it wouldn't be, probably unrealistic that something we'd have a technical difficulty during the concert anyway. So how we play it off, that's where the magic comes in. And speaking of magic, I'm going to go back to the beginning of my little intro statements, and to put yourself in an imaginary place. Pure imagination is what I played just to start this off with, because the freshman band, the concert band, would have played that for their Pops concert. And the plan is to put myself in a costume. The freshmen, they would have got this experience this year. Everybody else who's been with me for a while understands that, before we go to play the tunes, I try to get in costume the best I can. And before I even get into the costume changes, I'd like to give a shout out to the Norton family. And a lot of you remember the Nortons, Nedra, Dave, Autumn and Taylor. They've been with me for a while, gone through the program. And anyway, I asked them if they would do this. We had that idea together combined, and they, from their own homes, came up with very, very creative ingenuity to come up with something, dropped it off in my mailbox, left instructions and everything. And anyway, I'm going to at least try to get into that mindset. And if you, like you said, put your Willy Wonka pure imagination caps on and just put yourself in that atmosphere. Pretend you're watching the concert. I know it's hard to do, but hey, pure imagination, right? And the plan for tonight is that I will, announce the awards, but there will be a little costume change in between. I'll kind of fade this out the best I can. Maybe a hand there, whatever it is. So I can then play snippets of the pieces of music that you would have heard. We were working on them, and they would have been great. They would have probably sound just like these recordings, they're the same tunes that we purchased. So anyway, be listening to that. While you're listening to that, I'll be making the quickest costume change I can, because what happens, as you know, some of you, now the freshmen, this is what I would have done. Stepped up on the podium, dressed just like this, played the tune, and then took off real quick behind the scenes to get a costume change, and then I'd come back and be the next one. And so my costume getaway is then the next announcement for the award. That's the plan. Okay, so in theory, we just played Willy Wonka's pure imagination, and we come to the point now later on after the concert that we're in the banquet, and people are eating some food. So if you have some, great, by all means, just shout out. That's what we do. We have a good old time. And then we announce the awards. And the first group of awards that I'd like to announce would be the concert band awards, and that's pretty much the freshman group. And these are awards that are voted on by peers, by the class. They vote themselves into these positions. So without further ado, I will start with the very first concert band award. And we actually do 3 per class. For each section, we do a woodwind, and we do a brass, and we do a percussion. And the very first award for the concert band goes to Ashley Wallace. All right. So congratulations, Ashley. I have a piece of tape here, and I'll be right back with you as I play the next tune we do. And by the way, the sound is on, I think. I think we got some responses back that you can hear me now. So the music might give it away. I don't know. We'll see. I'll be right back with you. Abrupt stop. And here we are for round 2. If you didn't guess that, I don't know where you've been on this planet, but that was definitely Pokemon, the music to the Pokemon theme. I got 4 boys at home, and we've been watching Pokemon for, probably about 15 years now. Seems like it. So, without further ado, The award for outstanding, let's say brass next, goes to Jackson Carmichael. Congratulations, Jackson. And costume change number 3 for announcement number 3 award. Back with you in a minute. Right back. Okay, I couldn't wait long enough. If you haven't guessed by now, the theme of this one is Game of Thrones. If you hadn't heard the music and it gave it away, I'm a character from Game of Thrones, and this is my dragon. Anyway, I would like to say that the next award goes to Outstanding Percussion, and that is Colin Jones. All right, way to go, Colin. I will be back with you. It looks like I found on this desk a Post-it, and maybe if I put that on, I will completely cover everything up. The next up is the Symphonic Band. Hold on. As my Game of Thrones person, in that time period, I don't think they had the Scotch tape for the Post-its, so I'm just going to do what I can do here. I think, oh, yes, you probably have a green screen now. That's exactly how I planned it. Meanwhile, intermittent music, as I do. A change here. And if you're in the Symphonic Band, I'm sure you'll recognize this because this is what we would have played. Oh, what a perfect segue with the music. As you can see right now, I am from the game Assassin's Creed. That was epic gaming themes by the Symphonic Band. That's what I would have been playing. And I think I'll stay with this outfit. This one took a while to get on. So without further ado, right into the Symphonic Band Awards. And hopefully you can hear me. We'll start with the Woodwinds. The outstanding Woodwind goes to Chasey O'Brien. Right, Chasey, way to go. The outstanding brass, Sammy Wilson. The outstanding percussionist goes to none other than Leah Falk. All right, so without further ado, I'm going to now get into the wind ensemble here just in a second, and you will hopefully be able to hear what it is we would have done, and maybe my costume will make sense. Again? And voila, try. What? Hold on. Okay, I'm going to do the best I can to keep this on. If you hadn't recognized that theme, it was the theme to Aladdin. We would have played Aladdin for everybody. And anyway, we were working on it. It's a pretty tough arrangement. You know, as we get into wind ensemble, we get to more advanced arrangements. And that was very, very similar to the nature of the actual, movie. So anyway, you just had a great performance. You heard it. The group did. And then we're on to the banquet and the awards now. And so this is the wind ensemble, voted on by peers, outstanding instrumentalist awards. So we'll start with the Woodwinds. Hold on. I know you want to see this hat. I know the Nortons have worked on this. Yeah. Okay. Trying to get. Okay. There. Oh, there we go. Hold on. I do want to announce the award, but my hat has to stay on my head. Nortons, we're going to talk about this and how to keep the hat on in the future. Anyway, the outstanding woodwind goes to Madison Braun. All right. The outstanding brass to Ethan Jones. The outstanding percussionist goes to Riley Horn. All right. Congratulations, everybody. And listen, I'll be right back with you in 1 second. I got one more costume change. Don't know if I have the music for this. Seems to be like buffering forever. But I'll hum some of the music while I get changed for the wind ensemble before I announce the other awards. Anyway, it sounded like something totally different. Let me sing a different song. The Circle of Life. Yeah, you probably know that one now. But the beginning goes. I can't get my glasses on. No. Okay. Voila. I am the Lion King. And we would have played the Lion King now. I mean, we were working on it, and it would have been great. And if they weren't buffering here, this actually goes along with my Grizzly Adams look here recently due to staying inside and not, having a shave or a haircut. So it makes total sense. So the next, you know what? I'm going to go into the real deal. We have just done all the Pops concert stuff. We're done with that. We're at the Real Deal Awards ceremony. Finally, I go professional mode. I got a nice time. Got the hair out of my mouth. And we're into the awards, the other part of it now, to the leadership awards and sending the seniors off and giving a shout out to that class. So I would like to first start with the drum major awards. And listen, I brought the plaques. By the way, just so you know, all these awards are in the process of being made, and they will be available for you to pick up next Thursday. More to follow on that, but there's going to be a time where everybody can pick up their stuff next Thursday. And then seniors will have the opportunity to drop off like instruments and music, the stuff that I need to get back. And at the same time, everybody who received an award can go ahead and pick up their awards. Not to say that, without saying, if you're not a senior, keep your instrument because, I'm still sending you stuff to work on because once all this stuff is gone and done with and we're back to what we do, we need to have a good start, in which case you're practicing with your instruments at home nonstop all the time. Yes? All right. So the first award would be a drum major award, and I would have the plaques. They'll be for you to pick up next week, but I will. I can't show you on. Well, let's put it. This really applies to the other ones. The drum major awards, they don't go up on a perpetual per se, but they're actual individual awards, and it just basically states thank you for your service as a leader in the Union Pines Band, and it goes out with saying that these three individuals, Madison Braun, Emily Salmons, and Emily Totora, they led us to 2 grand championships this year, and those are not easy to obtain. And those of you who've been around, the incredible amount of work that goes into being top band of the day. So I'd like to congratulate those three for job well done, outstanding leadership skills, and way to help us get to achieve those goals, which we had at the beginning of the year, and we met them. All right. Next award, Senior Leadership Award. This is an award that is voted on by peers, by all the bands actually, because they had interactions, especially in the marching band world, with seniors, and they got to know them. The seniors took them under their wings and helped them to get their start. In which case, the young band students, they have just the same opportunity to vote just as anybody else from that aspect. And then, of course, we get into the peer same age groups that have gone with that group, or they've gone with these students and watched them grow as leaders. And in which case, they vote, and the tallies came in, and for the Senior Leadership Award, that will go to Madison Braun. So congrats, Madison. Voted on by peers. Okay? And same thing, you'll get a plaque. You'll get a plaque for that. Pick it up next Thursday. Sometime in the morning, that's when it's going to be. I'll send all the pertinent information out. And you know me. Usually last minute, in the moment, but I will try to get that stuff out to you a few days prior, just so you have plenty of reaction time, that kind of thing. All right, the next award, also voted on by peers, is the Senior Service Award. Same spiel. All the groups get to vote, all the band students, and we actually had a tie this year. And the key word there for senior service is what? Service to the band. I will say, before I give you the name, that this individual, I'll give you a hint. This is a woodwind type person, and she would come in even during brass stuff, if that makes any sense. So always there to encourage and help, even in other sections. And then this other person, I will give you a hint, always the last person to leave, first one in there, last one to leave, and organize multiple events for the band. Help me with that aspect because it's a big old group, and it takes a lot. It takes a lot to get things going. So without these two individuals helping out, it had been very tough. So their service to the band is very duly noticed by the students and me as well. And so the Senior Service Award goes to 2 individuals. They're Emily Davis and Emily Salmons. All right, next award. This is a talent-based award. Hold on. I see the stuff I have behind here. Oh, by the way, you can't see. I think you can now. Those are some trophies. As you know, we would have had the banquet set up, and then there would be a table. Everybody can come in, and you see all the accolades that the group, was able to achieve after all the work. Grand championships, trophies at, outstanding horn line, percussion, color guard. The list goes on and on. And I couldn't get them all here, for this live virtual performance because I took the small car, and my wife, she's a trooper. She helped me carry these, and if you can just imagine 2 trophies in the small car, with the top down and the wind blowing, and it's, 55, 60 miles an hour. So it's like a hurricane atmosphere with holding on these trophies outside. And anyway, shout out to my wife for being such a trooper to get these things here, but we did manage to get those here so you can view them. And some of these plaques that like I said, perpetuals that you will see your name on for years to come if you want to come visit again. I hope you do. And also, yes?
They only heard Emily Davis's name.
Okay. So I got the behind-the-scenes technical support crew here. Thank you so much. And by the way, shout out to the Kermsies for making this happen. Thank you, Laura. That they only heard one name for the Senior Service Award, probably because I'm talking too fast, but it was a tie for two names. They were Emily Davis and Emily Salmons. So hopefully I enunciated so you could hear that. All right. And that'll bring me to the next award, a talent-based award. And I will actually read, this is the John Philip Sousa Award, and this is the top talent-based award that goes to a senior in the band, not only our band, but it's a consistent award across every band, every high school band in the country. And so it's a very, very special award, very special honor, and I'll read you exactly what the premise is to receive this award. Okay, and that student will get this with their name engraved on it. And remember, next Thursday, come pick it up. And a pin. And also, this will go on Union Pine's Wall of Fame. So that name will be there for years to come. Last year's recipient was Shelby Singer. And just to recap, those of you who remember, you were here last year. And this award goes to, after, of course, I read what it's about. Slowly enunciate so everybody can understand. The John Philip Sousa Band Award. In recognition of outstanding achievement and interest in instrumental music, for singular merit and loyalty and cooperation, and for displaying those high qualities of conduct that school instrumental music requires, the John Philip Sousa Band Award is hereby presented to, drum roll. Yeah, open the diddles up, if you're a percussionist, so I can hear the actual 9-stroke rolls combined, the 5s. Well, let's just say they're clear, okay? The award goes to Madison Braun. And if you've heard her play, you understand that not only is she talented on the main instrument she plays for me most of the time, the clarinet, but she's just as talented in multiple instruments as well. One of those people who can pick up any instrument and just right out the gate sound good. And if she decides she wants to put some time into it, it'll sound like she's, professional caliber player. So anyway, congrats. All right. The next award is going to be another leadership award. And of course, there'll be a plaque that's outstanding service and leadership and all the duties to the band that leadership entail. Basically, leadership is a very simple concept. Possessing the ability for the others to follow you. And it could be, good or bad, but we always are on the good side of things here at Union Pine. So good leaders is what we have, great leaders. And the Color Guard Leadership Award. And I'm glad that we are able to recognize our Color Guard because they work so hard, putting so many hours. I'm very thankful to Mr. Sims, if you're watching this, for helping these girls out to achieve at high levels. And anyway, from time to time, our Color Guard instructor, sometimes he can't make it. He's busy with his own job. But when in his absence, we instill the traits of leaders into captains, and that might be a hint, to actually keep things going and still motivate the group to do well, actually achieve at very, very high levels. And anyway, that person is Bailey Davis. So Bailey, congratulations. You have done such a great job. And it's nice to know that we keep it going and the student can achieve at such high levels. The expectation is high with that group visually, and they have always come through and, top notch, top scores, that kind of thing. Those of you who've been around and watched that group, you understand what I'm talking about. They're fantastic. Okay, so let's see. I'm going down my list. I did take some notes. You can't see them here. They're all scribble scrabble, but I understand what they mean. So the next award is the Semper Fi Award. Let me go grab this plaque and I can read this to you. And this is an award that the Marine Corps gives to two students, a male and a female, that basically the traits are recognized as this. And I'll read it straight through. U.S. Marine Corps Semper Fidelis Music Award. Recognizing the high school musician traits that Marines consider essential to being a good leader. Endurance, knowledge, unselfishness, dependability, enthusiasm, and loyalty. And this year's Semper Fidelis Music Award goes to, by the way, your names will be on that plaque. Let's see here. Sarah Jenkinson and Lucas Smith. So congratulations. And if you've seen these individuals out, especially in that 100-degree weather with that marching band doing our thing, they're exactly, they exhibit exactly those traits. Let's see. All right. Next award. Let's make sure I don't forget anything. I'm pretty sure I'm not. So far, I'm going to stay with my list. That's probably smart. We're going to go to a scholarship award, the Moore County Concert Band Scholarship Award. And seniors were, they were able to apply to this scholarship. It's a scholarship that the Moore County Concert Band gives out, actually. And I know a few of our students have participated in that group. It's a community group. I'll give a shout out to Dave Seiberling. He runs that group and was the former director of Union Pines. And he is instrumental and as part of forming that committee, because he directs that group, who thought it would be great to recognize a high school student from Northmore, Union Pines, and Pinecrest High School. And so after the applications were considered, this person actually won that scholarship award. And that goes to, and by the way, you'll get a concert band scholarship award plaque. And I think the concert band, community concert band takes care of that. So that should be coming hopefully to me soon, or you soon, me soon to give to you, or I'm sure they'll work it out to give it to you. But that award goes to Emily Davis. So congrats, Emily. Okay, and now we have two final awards here. And they are both memorial-based awards. And we wanted to give these awards to always remember and keep the memory alive with these former students who unfortunately passed away early in their youth. And I will get to exactly what the parents of this award wanted me to relay, and they would have done this had we had the banquet. Let's see. I will go. Here we go. This should be the latest. And this is a very special award. And after I read this from this Spencer Walden, the Spencer Walden Percussion Award, and the freshman class, I'm sure everybody holds Spencer dear to their heart. I do, but they were the seniors now. They knew Spencer, and anyway, this will make a lot of sense. And to those of you who didn't know him, you'll get a chance to know him based off the way I read this from his parents. This year marks the 5th year since our son Spencer passed away. We are honored to have his award presented in his memory, and thank Rob Hill and the UP Band Boosters for honoring the memory of Spencer with this annual tribute. Spencer had a smile that would light up the room when he entered. He had a heart of gold and a desire to help out a friend or stranger in need. Spencer had many gifts that are missed by us, all but his gift for music and desire to mentor others are what I wish he was here to share with all of you. In the 4 years that Spencer attended UP, the various bands he participated in are what grounded and inspired him. Although there were times he didn't understand Mr. Hill's reasoning, in the end he got his inspiration to go further from Rob Hill and his fellow classmates. Congratulations to this year's recipient of the Spencer Walden Percussion Award and the entire graduating class of 2020. And that award goes to, and I will show you the plaque before I announce that award. And the actual award will be coming on Thursday. Let me remind you that to pick it up. This is what the plaque looks like. Last year's recipient was Blake Deaton. And there will be another name that goes on the plaque this year. And that award goes to Chase Kermsey. Congratulations, Chase. And we will help to continue with Spencer's, the traits he exhibited and his memory, that we will always continue to do this award. And it has been an honor to have him at Union Pines. And we know that Chase will go on to exhibit the same traits in life beyond this, which is a great thing. Okay, one more award, the Amy German Scholarship Award. Same process as the Moore County Concert Band Award, pretty much. It's an application to get a scholarship, just like anything else. If you want to go to college, you do an application. If you want a scholarship, you do an application. And there's a lot of time that is put into these applications. And Dave Cyberling is instrumental in this application because his student, he had a student who unfortunately passed away early, and they wanted him and his parents to, in honor, put up a memorial scholarship in honor of Amy German, who was a fantastic student from what I gather, was not around when she was around, but I can just imagine based on every year's speech about her. And I'm sure she's missed. She is missed. And so Dave had sent me this to read because he would have been there reading. And this is what Dave would have said. The Amy German Scholarship goes to a graduating senior Union Pines band student who most exemplifies the character and spirit of Amy German. Amy was the person who loved everyone and was loved by everyone. She was a very bright, high achiever. She was an outstanding musician who played clarinet in the band and studied piano. Amy also studied dance and was a Viking cheerleader. Most importantly, Amy was compassionate. If you're having a bad day or difficulties with lifetime issues, Amy could sense this and would be at your side. She was a good listener and had a way of lifting your spirits. She was a happy, happy person who shared her joy with everyone around her. God bless her soul. And the Amy German Scholarship Award, let me get you this, show you this plaque real quick. So this will be hung up in Union Pines, but also this person can get the award next Thursday. There's your reminder again. Have I made that clear enough time? Next Thursday is when we're getting all this stuff. More to follow on logistics. But let's see if I can hold. Yes, I see. You can see that the recipients have been here for years. And in Amy German's honor, this year's recipient will be on this perpetual plaque is, drum roll, Madison Braun. So congratulations, Madison. More to follow on that and the whole process. And same with Emily about the Moore County Concert Band Scholarship, about, payment schedules, this and that. How all that works is based on the committee and what they decide to do. And I'm sure they'll get with you soon about that. But you'll be able to pick up those actual plaques by next Thursday. Okay, so that will do with the award ceremony. And this time, I wish we were at Union Pines. I wish we could be there to be in the banquet scenario when I bring all the seniors up. Normally, I'll have a little gift for them. And typically, that gift is a cup of coffee with no coffee. Well, there's coffee in it. It's a coffee cup with the UP band logo on that says "It's all good." Coming soon next Thursday for you to pick up, by the way, seniors, when you make your rounds to Union Pines in the morning next Thursday. And typically there's a small little thing of coffee that you can make on your own. And the reason why I put that in there is because I'm sure most of you know I'm not going to say I'm addicted to the coffee, but I really like the coffee and non-stop drinking it. And I just like it, So that would be something that might be special hopefully it is between me and my students, that they can go and then say if they need a cup of coffee, let's say they're in school or something, or they got a job right out the gate and they're tired, and they just need to keep going, and that little bit of coffee just pep them right up, just like when you get up in the morning and you have your cup of coffee, you're ready to go. Anyway, that kind of thing, right? And so that will be available to you next Thursday. But I do have a list of seniors, and alphabetical order pretty much, but maybe not, because sometimes I jump out of order. I just wanted to read the student's name. And, oh, by the way, seniors, Margaret Mcneil is working on the video. She said she would have that done soon, in which case then we see your pictures. Parents, same thing. Once I get it, I'll view it and make sure everything is good, if the time limit is right, but I'm sure it'll be great. And then we'll send it out, the link, and then you can see the progression from freshman to senior as a band student. And then even there's a baby picture to what they look like now as graduating. And I know that's a special moment for you. And we definitely want to send that to you so you can see that. And, keep it memory's sake, that kind of thing. Time flies quick, as I know. So I'm going to read down the list here. The first name and just a little bit about each student. And some of these, I just come up with a word that just kind of popped in my head when I initially thought of the student. So the first person is Trey Barber. So Trey, if you're watching, I'd like to say that I think you're a very helpful person. And the reason I say this is, well, as soon as you came to Union Pines, you've always been helpful to me, very respectful, and I guess you go out of your way to do things. But the thing I think about most, I'll never forget this, is we took that trip to Toronto last year. You see, Toronto, Canada, and there was a performance. We were at I believe it was the CN Tower, the Canadian National Tower. Most people were up, but they had to get down real quick. It was real fast because, that's the way we roll. One thing to the next, to the next, to the next, to the next. And anyway, Trey was in my group and Rayona Cash and a few other students. And long story short, one of the students was at the bottom of the tower waiting for us, and we thought he was at the top of the tower. And anyway, I swore that I had it figured out how to get to the theater in time. And I just played like I knew what I was doing. And I put my phone on to put that walking mode in, but I didn't know how to put it to Toronto streets or whatever. So basically I did a circle for like a half hour. And then I realized that the place, well, I didn't actually. I think it was probably Trey that you realized the place was just like, I don't know, must have been like probably 30 steps away in the other direction. And anyway, long story short, Rayona Cash, I just was going quick as I could. And I'm not going to say I leave people behind. I try not to do that. But I was hoping everybody would be caught up with me because I'm just going from here to there, left to right, forward, backwards. Crosswalks, I think I tried to get most of them when I was crossing the street. But anyway, it dawned on me. I looked back and Rayona, I couldn't barely see her. And then Trey's like, I'll go get her. Anyway, he got her. He helped her out. We all got to the theater, and then I told the people, the door people, that we had one more coming still, and she got in there just before they closed the doors, locked everybody out, last possible second. Anyway, that's a long story, but Trey, that word, it makes sense, right? So thanks for being so helpful. Okay, the next one actually is a group of three. This is Matthew Bishop, and I'm going to put these three together because to me, they seem to be that group that's just kind of joined at the hip, and when they're always together. It'll be Matthew Bishop, Cale Strickland, and Tate Storm. And I basically got 3 words for them. Okay? Courageous, confident, and inventive. And if you know these 3, they can be characters. Some days they have me laughing. Some days maybe I have to have a talk with them. But they're always consistent. They always come through. And these 3 words make sense to me. And I think they're interchangeable words between the 3 of them. So my initial instinct is to say Tate is courageous. Matt, you're confident. And Cale, very inventive. And when I say that, I mean the 3 of them together. And you all know this as Union Pines band students. And some parents have been on trips with me. But they'll find ways to have some fun. And I'll give you a good example. This must have been a freshman or sophomore year. We look at the senior video. And of course, I'm in the front, so I have no idea kind of what's going on in the back, facing forward, because I'm directing the band from the front. But on the video, one of the former trumpet players, Spencer Lentz, was, he was just kind of paying attention. And the 3 of them, and I can't remember who did the senior video, but he put this music on, like just kind of comedic music. And the 3 of them were just heckling him, like, I don't know, picking at his hair, this and that from behind. And I remember, Matt kind of turned to the camera or them and just kind of went like this, just knowing that, hey, we probably should not do that, but it was funny and it was fun. And maybe even, well, here's another story that comes to mind. Bands of America. That might have been their freshman or sophomore. It could have been their sophomore year, but no more than a minute or 2 after I had made the statement, we're going to stay in the stadium. That one of my band parents said, Cale, Tate, and Matt are working their way outside the stadium. Anyway, they turned them around, and the courageous, confident, and inventive, those 3 words between the 3 of them, I mean, interchangeable, just go ahead and do it. But I will also say this, the 3 of those words combined, they led to some exciting moments on the field. And I'll give you an example. Last year, we did that show, Upbeat. And if you remember, if you went to that performance, that there was a moment in the 3rd movement where the percussion start doing this. Doom, 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 doom. And then all of a sudden you hear, ba-dum, bum, bum, And then all of a sudden, guess what? Latin. That was those three trumpet players, Kale, Matt, and Storm. And they're just rocking it out. And those three, because they were the trumpet players, and I call them the horses of the group, the lead horses, that they made that happen. They made that moment special for everybody in the audience. So thank you, you three, for that. Let me go on to my next person, Joseph Black. The word that came up to me right out the gate was a valuable person to have around. Starting out in the clarinet, went to the trumpet. And, the reason why the word value comes in, because in the band world of things, there are a lot of parts that need to be played. And sometimes students want to play maybe the top part, where the reality is the harmony, the harmonic parts, that structure underneath is some of the most important stuff to play, because that's kind of what makes the whole balance right. And Joseph, right out the gate, started, he had some troubles getting some notes from the trumpet. He switched to trumpet from the clarinet, but he would always come through, and then whatever part, I wanted to put him on, he would just learn it, and he would play it, and he would not be that person who would just, I should be playing this other part, and the reality is that happens from time to time. It's just natural, but those kind of people you definitely need in your groups and your ensembles, because they realize at a younger age how important those parts are as well. So thank you for doing that, Joseph. And you come through with all those notes too, even the high notes lately with the scales. Before we did all this, let's kind of get to the online stuff. And I noticed you put a lot of work to do that. Okay, the next person is Madison Braun, bottom line leader, as you've heard with some of these awards today. She just has the ability to make others follow her. And this year, without reservation, grand championships, lead head drum major. Speaking of memories and things that just pop in my head, this year's show, Spellbound, we had to record and do some digital recordings, and I remember taking that little device, and every time we heard this, Spellbound. That's exactly right, Madison? Spellbound. I recorded like 10 clips, there was a witch, in the woods, and we went on, and I would record these clips, and I still have them all. I'll send them to you, But to me, that's something I'll never forget, And then we played it, and it was a grand champion moment, and you get to hear yourself come out those speakers. And anyway, Madison, thanks for being such a great leader. The next is Jelena Brewer. And Jelena, big-hearted is the word that had come to me right out the gate. She cares about everybody. It's apparent the way she talks to people. Her manners are just great, impeccable. And but I tell you something you might not know about her, but I do. That she has a calling to help out the community. And there were some maybe some pre-game performances where it's kind of voluntary, and she would come to me, be worried about maybe missing those performances, but she told me that and she had to help some members in the community who have experienced traumatic events. And that's the kind of mentality she brought to the band too. I just knew she's a person that had a big, kind heart that would help others out in their times of need. So, Jelena, I thank you for that. And all the people that you've impacted through your help, I know they're grateful as well. The next one is Weston Buchanan. Most of you know him as Blake. The word that jumped in my mind for Blake was curious. And the reason I say that is because he came in playing, I guess, bass clarinet, if I recall. And, he had some skills right out the gate as a tuba player, had a nice sound, so I need some tuba players, so asked me to try it. He did, and right out the gate was great. Next thing you know, he picks up a trombone, wants to be in a jazz band. And then I see him with the trumpet one day. And whatever else, a baritone, he'd just be in class. One day he'd be playing a tuba, and I'd look over there expecting Blake to be on a tuba. Well, boom, pan out to the baritone section, and he's playing the baritone. And then he played trombone. But I didn't mind, because I knew he was into it, and he liked to play those things. And he did a good job. He picked it up. After a while, it just kind of just becomes natural. Anyway, his curiosity made him a great player. But also, here's what I have learned about Blake lately. He got into EMS, and last Viking Classic, he was just really willing to help. Listen, what can I do for EMS? And, I think that led to what I think is I'm sure is his calling. That I think he plans to go to the fire academy right now, fireman's academy, and I just know that's going to be an awesome experience, and that's good, Blake. So the curiosity is taking you to the real world here to help others out, and I appreciate that, and I'm sure you're gonna be great. Okay. Next is Bailey Davis. She got an award for outstanding color guard leadership tonight, but long story short, she's my go-to person with the guard. Anything and everything, always ready to go. Last minute stuff, could be a parade. All of a sudden, I cut this amount of music, so now we're going to have to re-alter the count sequences for the guard. And there was no, what do you mean, da-da-da-da-da. It was like, okay. And she just did it. I go back out there after the band learns this new cut, and the guard already has the routine down. And that just makes things very, very easy. So thank you, Bailey, for doing that. Being pretty, I don't know if I said your word, but it's productive on top of leadership. So you're a productive person. Anybody's going to have you around with that. Okay. Emily Davis. For Emily, I had to put the word prepared. Always ready. The playing test, whatever it is, would ask me the questions about it before I kind of even knew. Sometimes the end of the end of my statements, what I was going to say about them. And so knowing Emily, she's going to get prepared. She wants to know what she needs to do to get prepared. And then I give the test. And most of the time, it's up there like 98 point whatever, 99 whatever. And she would give me this look after. There would be a little glitch. And I just knew from that moment she did the little, and her eyes go up in her head. Because she knew she just made one little glitch. And I was not going to give her 100. It might have been a 99.4762 whatever. But it wasn't 100. And she would do it again and again and again. And then, after getting to know her for years, I think probably some of those performances would have been 100, but I'll make her do it again anyway, just because I knew she would. I'll tell you, it's a 99.49. If you just I could round that 0.49 to a 99.5 and then round it to 100, but you got to get 99.5, and then maybe I'll round it up. Anyway, she did that. And so that's somebody who's prepared and ready to go all the time. And that's a great trait to have, Emily. Next person, Caleb Denneny. I know this individual to be very respectful. Always yes, sir, and no, sir. I'm pretty sure Caleb, I think probably Lucas, Caleb, let's see, Carter. They're all in the Boy Scouts. And if they hadn't got their Eagle Scout, I think they may have. But anyway, it's that kind of mentality, the respect. And it makes total sense in the band, right? But anyway, if there's any reason for help whatsoever, Caleb is like, I'll do it, and he's very respectful when I talk to him about it. When some others maybe have too much going on, or maybe they just don't want to do it. It just depends, because a lot of stuff is last minute, which I understand, but Caleb is that person who's respectful enough to say, yes, sir, I'll be there. And also a memory that pops in my head is, at the end of, band camp last day, we had a little fun. Seniors do a little scavenger hunt for me. And they always end up on the softball field because I know I love to play softball and baseball. I loved it, right? So we sit out there and, we just would mean to play for, 5 minutes. Let's hit the ball. And then next thing you know, me and Caleb are hitting the ball again so you can hit home runs. Anyway, thanks for that entertainment and, playing along with me with the game I liked. It meant a lot to me, Caleb, and thanks for being so respectful. Next person, Robert Frick. I know this individual be like a relaxed person. Like when things maybe got stressful, let's say it's 100 degrees outside, the drum line, he played percussion for me, snare drummer. And maybe the drum line is, I'm not satisfied with what's going on. So I go back out there and I make that clear. And then Robert just like, yeah, I got you. Simple as that. And no stress, nothing. And he would go and perform, So I think that's probably a good thing to have. It is a good trait to have, especially when things could get heated. But just the attitude to be like, I'm just going to relax and I'm going to do it, So next person, Jasmine Fulton. The word I have for her is unwavering. And the reason why I say that is, she has an upbeat mentality. She's always, we can do it. I know we can. She switched from the clarinet to baritone and struggled at first, but she, by her junior year and the senior year this year, she was doing some crazy hard stuff. As you know, we do grade 6 level music in the wind ensemble, and that's tough, you know. And she worked her way up to a leadership award. She's been a great leader. But one of the stories that come to mind about Jasmine was last year we did that upbeat show, and after we did some dance, you know, we had to get our time to get the instrument. She's playing this big old baritone, grab it in a very, very short amount of time, and then pretty much be in a full sprint to make a drill move that's most people probably couldn't do. And she did it every time. And I would run the drill. Let's do it again. And I know she was like, this is a workout, but she just did it. That's an unwavering right there. Steadfast, strong there despite all that. So thanks, Jasmine, for that and being a good leader and coming through with the baritone after starting on clarinet. Next person is Riley Horn. I know this person, I think very secure is the word that comes to mind with Riley. I'm going to say his ability, not only his ability, but also, so let's take the example what I'm wearing right now. I'm going to back up. You know, I got some, you know, I tried to dress up the best I could for this event. And just seemed like when I went to school, though, most of the time I'm in relaxed mode. Maybe a pair of shorts, Hawaiian shirt. Well, it always seemed like Riley would have the same outfit that I have on. And most people are like, they would go to me, what you wearing, you know? Yeah, I'm in relaxed mode today. You know, it's got to be laid back to do. And Riley would be that way too, but it's very secure. I mean, it didn't matter that he was, hey, dressed like me. Or maybe I was dressed like him, you know? That's kind of an example about that. But also with the intense toughness of the mallet music that's coming out nowadays with the recent wind ensemble literature. They're really writing more so for percussionists now, and they expect 4 mallet parts, harmonies. It's a lot of thinking. It's like being a piano player, but with mallets, you got 4 things going at the same time. And right out the gate, he picked up, and he's playing some incredible hard stuff. And then even, you know, we were going to go to MPA this year, and we still had some time to put some stuff together. He had broken his hand. And I look back at him and I say, you know that Timmy part has these triplets, just crazy hard stuff, pitch changes and everything. And Riley just looks at me, he's like, I can do it. And he just held up one stick. And he was going to do it. I know he would have done it, no problem, right? So anyway, to be secure is great, right? Next person, Elena Howington. I know Elena to be very composed. And very quiet, right? Which is nice. It's nice to have around. It's nice to have that kind of personality around because it just kind of brings a calmness to everything, right? Except for Elena. I don't know if you remember this. I'm sure you do. But when we get to the all-district auditions, I will. I have him because I got a story to tell about him. Technical crew, help me out. Make sure I don't forget things. And I have not yet. Anyway, back to Elena. So, you know, we get to all districts and always with Elena, she, you know, after they work so hard and they put all this effort and then they know like that, I listened to her, you know, all district solo. She was going to audition for it and it was ready, you know, and then I look at her and say, but you know, they changed the solo cuts yesterday. and then I would make up something like they do that so often just to keep you on your toes and make sure you're like the talented musician that you can just pick up something real quick, you know. And she would go into full panic mode and then all of a sudden the quiet calmness was, you know, maybe not so much, what? And then she would check it and I'm like, nah, just kidding. So you can do this after you know these students for so long, you know. Anyway, she could play this stuff and she was great. And despite all that, I appreciate having her calmness, that nature around. Next person is Sarah Jenkinson. So Sarah, I put the word successful for you. And I can back that up with these solos that you have played recently. But also you just got accepted into the Honors College, which I understand is tough to do. And so congrats. Successful people go on to do those kind of things. So they go on to be successful after, it'll just keep going. So congrats for that. But in the last 2 years as a junior, even to step up to play what I would consider to be one more year worth of training, you're a senior, you'd be able to do this stuff. Playing, if you remember, Variants on a Moravian Hymn, and this year with Arabesque, which we were not able to do, but you had a solo that was pretty extended for the very first part of it. Well, by the way, seniors, I have the recordings the last few recordings of class where, you know, I was getting to the point where I record so we can bring people in, guest clinicians, to kind of fine tune. And, you know, I'd always say, well, we'll go straight through. We're going to try to get straight through. I promise I won't stop. Well, you know, I stop. But most of these recordings are mostly straight through, and then I stop for a little bit. So I figured I'd at least send those to you. It's not exactly fine-tuned, but I know we had another 2 or 3 weeks. If we would have been able to go MPA, you would have rocked it out. You would have crushed it. And anyway, it's pretty good for rough draft mode, and I'll send that. I hope you will listen to them. In which case, Sarah, you can hear your flute solo. But also, bring me to a funny story this year. She had a piccolo solo, and the very first one, the first few times we hadn't mic'd her. We hadn't put a wireless mic on her. And I could hear fine from where I was standing. And it was always a great solo. But a lot of the parents came to me as audience members, said, you were having a hard time hearing her. And so we put a wireless mic on her, and we got it all figured out. And then Sarah forgets to turn it on, right? Or it was already on, then she turned it off. So I think we had one good take with the microphone, and that was actually at the Viking Classic. So watch that performance. I believe it's on YouTube, Spellbound. You'll hear Braun go, Spellbound, you know. and then you'll hear solo, and it was just fantastic. And here's one more of the story about Sarah I got to tell you. So we're doing the senior composite pictures. And, you know, I'm watching everybody come through, just making sure they're kept up pretty good. Everything's good uniform. And Sarah comes in, her hair looked like a hurricane had gone through. It was blowing all over the place. Probably because she was outside. It was windy. I don't know. But I said, fix your hair. This is a composite picture, you know. And she just like, I don't know if she took offense, but she's like, what are you saying? I said, it's a composite picture. I'm sure this will be on the wall for years. Can't you do it like some kind of up thing, you know? Anyway, she managed to make it great for the picture, but I thought that was just one of those funny moments that we had together anyway. So thanks for being a trooper, Sarah. Now everybody's going to look at the picture when they go in there. Next person, Ciani Johnson. Ciani, I have like two words, actually. Calm, but also very, very respectful. This kind of ties into Caleb with the respect and the manners. Same thing. Yes, sir. You know, just wow. The student's just going to completely 100% buy into it, pay attention, anything I ask. And I appreciate that, Ciani. But her nature, it brings a sense of peacefulness around, Ciani. That's what you do to the environment. So just so you know, if you're around Ciani Johnson, it's going to be a peaceful time. So thanks, Ciani, for being so calm and respectful. The next is Casey Keith. Casey, perseverant. And the reason why I say this is your willingness, Casey, thank you, is to change direction in an instant. I have a few examples. Recently, we were doing art in the park, and there's a percussion movement. And after kind of going through it, and I need to make some adjustments. Maybe this part will fit better with this person or that. And it just kept on going and going and going. And as soon as Casey might have learned that part, well, then I put somebody else on it, because then I thought he could do that part. And Casey would get it. Like, it doesn't matter. I will put him on it. And the same thing, here's another memory. It was, his freshman year when he was playing the trumpet. Before I switched into mallets, and he switched. I appreciate you doing that, Casey. You did a good job with it. But I remember there was this spin move, and Casey was a little bit smaller. You know, of course, the boys, when they come in as freshmen, they get that growth spurt by sophomore year, and then next thing you know, they're taller than me. And he's a lot taller now. But there was a spin move, kind of similar to what Jasmine had. It was a crazy far move she had to go, but he had to do a spin move, and it was very effective, except for what I was asking him to do was basically do a spin for like 5 yards and 2 beats or something like that. And anyway, he persevered, because that first stop in the lie, it was kind of rough. Just watch it. Oh my gosh, Casey, come on, let's do it. And he decided to put his mind to that he could do it, and he just got to a big old, I don't know if he did a stretches or whatever it was, but his legs decided to get further apart, and he made it, you know. So that's a perseverant person to get through those things. So thanks, and that'll take you far. Next person, Chase Kermsey. So Chase, every time I see Chase, he just has this smile on his face, and the first thing I'm thinking is this guy's fun-loving is what I'm thinking. He's easygoing, and the sense of humor combined with the talent, it's awesome because there's always that smile with the talent. And I'm not going to say every now and then it's kind of like, we just pulled a fast one on you, smile or not. Because I know him and his crew in the back of that percussion section, you know. But I appreciate that fun-loving mentality. So it's nice to have around the sense of humor. And it can relax the group to be able to perform as well. So thank you, Chase, for that. Your personality just being easygoing and fun-loving. And that smile. It's contagious. So keep it going. Milton Kyle, I put masterful down. Just because the performance it's a skilled performance, if that makes any sense. So Milton will go beyond the expectations as far as seeking out like ways to maybe hit the high notes or play a technical passage, and then he'll practice them. I'm noticing that, when I go in the band room, he might be playing something. There was last year solo and upbeat, there was a trombone solo that Milton was kind of just playing around with, and he sounds so good on it. We actually turned it into a duet with another person that was doing the trombone solo, and he mastered that. And just because he skillfully worked out a practice regimen that could allow him to do that, on his own. And anyway, that's going to lead, and also thinking in terms of jazz band and the theory behind everything at first can be pretty rough because you're expecting students now to do what we normally do in concert band, but then we go beyond that. We maybe alter some notes and change some things so they can improvise and sound good in a different key with different harmonic structures and how to react and how to play, just like right there in the spot to sound good. And he would practice those arpeggiated patterns and what it took. So when he improvised, he sounded like he's been playing for years and years and years right out the gate, even though he just had some basic theory to start, right? So that's a skill that, masterful. That's a good word for you because of that very nature of you and being able to figure out things that way, Milton. So good for you. Carter Leonard. The word for Carter is dutiful, and Carter was a Boy Scout, so it makes sense to me, But I'll give you an example. Like Carter, he would just show up to play in groups, and maybe I ask him to do it that he's not even in. And I'm glad he does because I need I would say, Carter, I need you to play possibly, if you can, alto sax. And just no later than the next day we do it. I'm just kind of waiting on the word that I'll do it. Maybe a week later it'll be okay. So I'm not stressed out about it because I just know it'll happen somehow. And Carter just shows up in class, like on time before everybody else, ready to go. Like he's in the class. And it just seemed like he felt like that's his duty. He's got to do it. And I'm like, man, that's great. He shows up. I really, if you showed up for the last 2 times and it sounded good enough to do it, that'd be okay by me. So, but that sense is awesome because I appreciated that you showed up because, the part was always there and it was nice to hear it. And you did a good job with it. So thank you, Carter. Okay, the next award is another one of those dual awards, and they can be interchangeable traits. One is, Margaret Mcneil and Emma Wuten. And band, those two. Always entertaining, but I did put the word fun to be around, happy, and lively. And you can flip them. There's always the smiles on the face. And you go in there and you just stare them down. And the reason why sometimes I had to stare them down, and I'll just be honest, is because of these phones. And those two have made me give probably the most Youth of America speeches that I give. Those of you that have been in my class know what I'm talking about. There's a time and place for the phone, da-da-da-da. But every time I would turn to them, because they sit next to each other, and they're like, ga-ba-da-ba-da-ba-da-ba, Emma would just be looking at me with this big smile. And Margaret would be like, ooh, I think I'm in trouble now. But I couldn't stay mad at them. That's just the thing about their personality. I give them the speech and then things would be good. And then sure enough, got to give another one because of the phones. But they were just so happy and fun, And anyway, I appreciate that mentality and just the happiness. And it's contagious. It really is. So if you're smiling, you're happy. And people, it's just going to be fun to be around. And people like to gravitate to that. And it'll make them feel better too. So thank you for that. Next, Lauren Morgan. I know Lauren to be, the word that comes to mind is mature. She's consistently grounded in maturity. It seems like goofing off is not in her nature, and that's cool. Doesn't appear to get rattled either. No drama with her. And that's just, to me, that's a sign of maturity. Somebody who, we're going to take this seriously and we're going to get it done. And I watched her work with her section. And it's the same thing, and they were great. And so I appreciate the leadership, but that sense of maturity brought that to them. So good for you. Lauren, you got a leg up on people who, in the future sometimes never develop that sense of maturity, but you already have it. So anyway, good for you for being such a mature person, and we're going to get this done. Y'all don't goof off. We're going to make it happen. The next person is Ella O'Donnell. I put intuitive down for her. And the reason I said that is, so Ella, I remember her from freshman year, and she played clarinet, I believe, pretty sure. We did a 4th of July thing, and I think she, it went for her at that point in time. And she was very talented, so I'm just like, oh my gosh, she was so good. I wish she would stay. Cut to about 3 years later, all of a sudden Ella shows up. I think I would like to be in the band if I could. And I'm like, well, I remembered how talented she was. And so she played a number of instruments. I put her on, in Barry sax, I think she came to like, but I remember the parts that I asked her to play were like very, very difficult. And my instant gut reaction was, well, you probably haven't played 2 years. I don't know what, it's going to be pretty tough. But she's like, I can do it. I know I can. And so what happens at that point is, in my mindset, somebody has to figure out a way to still be able to do that and, make it sound like it's right, and then get to the level where it is exactly 100% right. So at the start, there would be some notes that she would play, and they would fit. And maybe wasn't exactly the part to start, but then she would get these technical passages. And next thing you know, she's playing extremely complicated music. And last year in Variants from a Moravian Hymn, go to that YouTube recording. A lot of the stuff that I'm talking about, go to YouTube, Union Pines Wind Ensemble. You can listen to these things. There was a kind of like a walking bass line, but for Barry sax, it was crazy complicated. And she came through because that set in. How am I going to figure out how to do this stuff? Maybe attack it slowly to get to the level where I need to get to come through with extreme great performance, and she's been able to do that. And the marching, same thing. She just jumped into it. And then, how do I figure this out? Figured it out. And that wasn't me just like, okay, let's take some time out. We're going to teach you how to do this. That's that sense of intuitiveness kicked in, and she was able to, piece things together that way. So that's going to take you far, Ella. I'm glad that you have been part of this group for the last few years. Next person, Jarrett Pittman. A very adaptable personality. I'd say he's able to adjust to new conditions quickly. He started out with saxophone, and then I put him on tuba, and then he went to trombone in a jazz band, and he always had a very, very quiet sound, but was very good. But so I tried to get him to play out a bunch, and he did come out from time to time, but then as a director would do to try to put you on some parts that, well, if it's the good tone quality and a softer sound, well, if you play this part instead of that part, it would probably work out a lot better. And with no reservation, he did that a few times for a few different things, and he always played well. So I appreciate you being a person who can adapt to new situations like that. Let's see. My list goes on. My next person is Freddie Rieger. I know the word that jumps in my head for Freddie is principled. It seems like Freddie, and this is 100% true from freshman year to this year, has been able to show recognition between right and wrong. He's a very, very moral person. And if you're around Freddie, you get to know that. And he'll let you know, that's not right. That's wrong. And he's right. Whatever it was, the moral intuitiveness, the principled mentality kicked in. And Freddie, I appreciate that. I appreciate that you're able to recognize that, and at a young age be able to, just lay it down like, we're going to do the moral, the ethic thing here. Okay? So thank you, Freddie, for being that person. Emily Salmons, I put the word efficient because there's no wasted effort with you, and always organized. And she finds ways to not waste time. Let's put it that way. I witnessed her, on the field doing that, but also from time to time, maybe I had a meeting I had to go to. I needed to, a substitute, but at the same time, I needed somebody who had the skills enough to run the class as a student to kind of guide things. And every time I would expect whatever it was to get done, I would come back next day. Whatever Emily had done, it was exactly the way I expected it to be. So there was no waste of time there. So I appreciate that, Emily, for doing that. Also, Emily, I may have alluded to this earlier with the Drum Major Award, and also the Senior Service Award that I believe you got as well. That she was always the first to be there and the last to leave, and that's just very, very appreciated by the band and me personally. I will tell you that I appreciate that, because when I go in the next day, it's nice that that place looks organized and it's put up complete. It just sets the tone right, and that wouldn't happen if it wasn't for you sticking around and helping out with that. So thank you. Lucas Smith, I put down intellectual. Lucas is a very smart person, and I just stories about whatever. I mean, just if it's math he speaks a few languages. I mean, it's just he's very smart. But seems like when I'm doing rhythmic things or counting sequences, I always see Lucas kind of like analyzing it, and then he knows like how many subdivisions or whatever. To me, that's pretty cool. I mean, he's the analytical aspect of it, the intellect there. A very smart person, and I appreciate that, because that maybe sometimes that helps to break things down for people. And I'm sure you did this with your section to help them understand things. As an intellectual would be able to, kind of figure things out. Well, this goes with that, and that added to this equals that. And from the beginning to the end anyway, concerning music. So thank you for that, Lucas, being an intellectual. Let's see here. Next person, Kira Tyrones, color guard member. I know her to be very productive, and this is proven by her outstanding performance. And also, in top of that, just the setting that a role model should for others to follow. Always has been a very positive mentality, and same thing. The expectation as far as productiveness, that in a short amount of time I would need this to be learned, and maybe you're not teaching it, but you're the person who's doing it, in which case you have learned it, and then other people look, and then the role model that you are kicks in for others to follow. And because you were so good with all the color guard work, you had a lot of people looking at you to make sure that they were doing things right. So I appreciate you picking up and being productive in that aspect, and being a good, positive role model for others to follow. Jordan Wood, the word came to me as affirmative. Yes, Mr. Hill. Yeah, I mean, it did all the time, whatever it was. For me, it's pleasant to know that, yes, I'll do it. There is no, I wonder if everybody's going to do this. And she would just point blank, yes, yes. So the understanding of the person who's in the instructor or the teacher, or whoever it is, there is that affirmative response back that makes me know that she's going to take care of business. I know it already. And of course, the same, also the manners and the respect are very, very apparent with Jordan. So I thank you for being affirmative and respectful, Jordan. And I also believe I have one other person, and I know I skipped some alphabetical order, but I wanted to save this person for last, Nick Mandy, because the story I have to tell is pretty fun. Nick, spontaneous is the word that comes to me. Because no matter where we were, what environment we are on, like there would just be some kind of groove, I don't know, rap beat underneath this ballad thing that I'm conducting, and in the background I hear something like that always, and then the whole percussion section starts going, and then I'm thinking, well, that sounds pretty cool, but I can't let them know that. Stop now. And but always, and then all of a sudden Nick just jumps around. He just jumps and does a backflip. Or one day we're doing camp, and I said, well, look, I don't know what it came to, but we tried to do some push-ups together so you could do the most. And he's like, nah, let's do some diamond push-ups. I'm like, diamond what? And I get down, I do like 3 or 4. Nick does like 50. I'm like, okay. But those spontaneous things, they make things great. But the story I wanted to tell about Nick happened last year to Toronto Zoo. And Round of Cash got video of this because I was sitting right there. And I remember we were eating and there was this goose. I think it was a goose. Anyway, it was just kind of walking by. And then Nick, he just starts getting down and he's doing some kind of imitation of a goose. And they're following each other and they're looking the same, with the flapping of the wings. I mean, I died rolling and I just couldn't help but to think that's Nick Mandy, everybody, It put a big smile on my face. Anyway, I'm pretty sure I didn't leave anybody out. I went down my roster for marching band and this year. But if I have, sometimes it gets so busy and hectic. Just call me, let me know, and I'll make it even extra special for you. I'll go above and beyond. Every now and then it happens with the program and the concert, and I hate it. It does. But I think I double checked. I'm pretty sure I did to make sure. I did want to say some things about the whole senior class combined that, a lot of times I'll say making memories. And just picture yourself. We're at the concert. We just did it. You guys had a great performance. We did the awards, and now you're up here with me with your coffee cups, handed them to you. And then I'll give you one last shout out. And for each class, there's something that's special and unique about the class. And so I'm thinking in terms of making memories always, obviously I've talked about each student individually here and some things that jumped in my head. And everybody's special and everybody, I appreciate you being part of my life. And I will look forward to your success stories because I know that's what you're all going to be. But, I got thinking, what about the senior class? What's their story from freshman year to now? And so, I got to thinking, well, you're the first group that we ventured out to the Bands of America world of things. And if you remember that, it's a big deal. I mean, if you go to a Bands of America, competition, you're expected to be probably one of the best, not if in the state, but within, the Southwest of the United States or whatever part of the country you're from in those big kind of situations as far as, whatever, half of the country here, this is the best band, that half the best band. And, you got to see those groups, and I think it was an eye-opening experience for you, and that's kind of what I wanted because we had done so well up to that point. And so, well, we're doing all right here, but let's now take a look at the groups that are doing all right past this, this proximity within 2 hours or something like that. And anyway, you got to see some real good groups. I know some of you just blew you away with the stuff they did. Okay? So we did Computer versus Man then, and it was a great show. It was awesome. It was tough, and you came through. But there was like a formula that we had stuck to, and it had worked. But this is now what we need to do. You got to see that. So this is what started happening as you had started to grow. We started Winter Percussion. That hadn't been a thing until then. Knowing that, well, to be as good as these groups, well, we're going to have to keep on these skills on top of what we're doing. So that freshman class, your class, actually was instrumental in starting that program. The independent winter guard, the visual thing started. Okay? All kinds of things started because of this group. Next thing you know, more intense drill. A lot of dance stuff started happening. If you remember the first time we tried to do some of that, some of you are so awkward as can be. Because it wasn't what we were used to. And now, cut to 2 or 3 years later, we just did Spellbound and we did all that dance routine on top of what we did as a group with 120 plus, 130 plus. And in a short amount of time, we were able to put things together. The year previous, Upbeat. We're in the circle to start the show. We're down. We had to do count sequence to get up and do some kind of, I can't even tell you what the names of these things are. Pliés and the dance moves and this and that. Thank you, Les, for helping us out. But it's becoming routine now. So routine now, winter percussion, independent guard, continuing to play on the off season. Winter guard, independent winter guard, and the electronics and all that stuff that's coming into now. Patching things in, the microphones, the extreme hit sounds. Props now this year. And by the way, speaking of all this, I did want to give a shout out before I forget. I didn't want to. And I was going to say this anyway. I put it on my notes because I'm reading them. But to anybody, period, who's involved with this band, it's a big old group. And there are just so many pieces to it. And band boosters, parents, former students, anybody and everybody who has had anything to do with this band at all, I am so very thankful that you have helped make what I'm talking about now, this experience, great for these students here who are graduating, making these memories. Because anything from organizing the buses, getting bus drivers, driving the bus, going to a school to get a bus license so you can help as a parent, building props in 100-degree weather, painting them in and out of the trailer, moving equipment from here to there, making the calls, sending the emails, doing the fundraising. The list goes on forever and ever and a day. And it just takes a massive amount of everything. And I'm very, very grateful to all the support. And I'm going to tell you that right now. And if I get busy, a lot of times I do. I just go, 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 go. And if I don't take the time out to say thanks so much, I'm saying that to all of you right now. So thank you. And I know you value it. You wouldn't do it, if you didn't think it was important. And your children are involved, and you did that for them. And I'm sure they're very thankful too. And if not, you just tell your parents right now, thank you. And I love you very much for helping me, make that a possibility. Okay. Anyway, so we started with, let's see. Let me go back there. Oh, so we're getting into now more drill, props, harder drill, things that you're not used to. Cut to 4 years later, your senior year, when you were able to bring 2 grand championships. And up until that point in time, there was a lot of grand championships that were happening. We started to add the stuff, and you came short 3 years in a row with some runner-up grand champions. And this year you decide to say, you know what? It's all going to come together, and we're going to go ahead and make it happen. And from Computer versus Man to Resurrection to Upbeat to what you did this year, that's an accomplishment. To start where you were as very young students coming into the band world things, to coming out as seniors, young adults who are going to go into the world here pretty soon to do your thing, whatever that may be. You brought it, and I appreciate that. Okay? I really hate it that we were not able to take another trip to Busch Gardens this year. The trips, to me, that's kind of one of the most valuable experiences you can get. It's real life, a cultural experience. The educational value of that is awesome. In Toronto, we got to go. What was unique of the culture? Tim Hortons donuts. I had one of those. Or you got poutine. And by the way, I never got any of that because it seemed like everywhere we went, we got all these band students and parents. And there's so many, they get there before me. And next thing you know, they're out of the stuff before I get there. So one day I'm going to have some poutine, And those of you who know that's the Canadian version of this mixed together. Fries, gravy, and cheese curds. And it's unique to the culture. But, we got to see Niagara Falls and the grandeur of nature and, the earth, the beauty of it, and climbed to the top of the CN Tower to see the entire city of Toronto, how massive and big it was. Got to see a Broadway show, Medieval Times. Just the fun things we get to do together as a family. And anyway, those are memories that I'll cherish forever. And I'm glad we got to make them together. And this year, sadly, we're not able to take our trip together to Busch Gardens. I've been there a few times every other year because I want the seniors to have one last trip. And if you hadn't been to Busch Gardens to ride some of those rides, that would have been some more experiences. And so if you could do this is the challenge to you when you go about your way and all this craziness subsides and settles, that you go to Busch Gardens and ride those rides and report back to me and tell me which one you think is the best, because I already got my boat in. I've been there a few times with the band, and it's just fun times. And I would just tell you this much: my favorite is the Verbolten, and if you ever ride it, maybe you'll let me know why. Okay. So seniors, it's been a good ride. We've made some great memories together. You have thoroughly impressed me with your growth from freshmen to seniors, and you're young adults. You're going to go out into the world, and I know you're going to be successful. And I hope you stay in touch. Shoot me an email, find me on Facebook, communicate from time to time. Just keep me posted. because you're family. We're family together, and I wish you the best of luck. And I look forward to your continued success and the stories that come along with them. So, band, I'll tell you I love you. Take care. Best of luck.